Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the 7:15 Dive Show. My name is Becky. I'm one of the educators here at Ripley's, and you may have noticed with me in the water today I have one of our fabulous divers. This is Daphne. She probably can't see us yet. She hasn't quite adjusted, but everybody try and give her a big wave so she can see us while she adjusts her mask. So Daphne's going to be feeding some of our animals today, and I'm going to be telling you some interesting facts about them. If you guys haven't noticed, this is where the stingrays are. We have 3 species actually, these little guys that are all swarming Daphne right now. Those are our cow-nosed rays. They're the smallest ones we have in the tank, and they know Daphne has the food. That's why they are all over her right now. So we feed our rays about 4 or 5 times a day. Today they're probably getting tasty morsels of herring and capelin. Those are pretty typical for what we give them. Every now and then they might get a morsel of bonito or squid. Squid is obviously a smushy piece of squid. Calamari you guys might get at a restaurant. And bonito is a really smelly fish our divers don't like working with so much, I hear. So these guys eat pretty regularly, like I said, and that's to keep up with their active metabolisms. As you can see, they're pretty active, swimming around all the time. The cow-nosed rays in particular are very active swimmers. In the wild, they're normally a schooling fish, so these guys band together and travel through great migrations back and forth from their breeding grounds every year. So they're really comfortable being in close quarters with each other and Daphne. These bigger stingrays that you see on the bottom of the tank, these are our southern stingrays. And you can see there's one just there at Daphne's feet hoping to get a nice piece of herring. Like I said, they're very comfortable with her, they'll go right over her head. So you can find both of these species anywhere from Florida to Brazil. They're fairly common in those areas. The southern stingrays are a little more solitary than the cow-nosed rays. They don't really school so much. You can see they just spend a lot of their time on the bottom, in their own space. We do have a 3rd species of stingray in the tank. He's probably hanging out in the back. I don't see him right now. He's our rough-tailed ray. He's very big. He's 250 pounds at last measurement, and that was a few months ago, so a very big ray. I think I just see him swimming towards me, but the glass is kind of foggy. I can't see him at all. If he swims by me, I'll point him out. He's got, well, obviously, a very rough tail, and he's quite bigger than the other guys. Here he is, right here. So this is our rough-tailed stingray. He's very big. Oh. Yep, there he goes. So if you guys come up close later, you can see his tail is quite a bit more bumpy than the other guys, and if you were to pick him up, you'd have a very hard time. He's very large. A lot of our stingrays in here are ladies, just happenstance, you can tell normally. Underneath, ladies have pretty much nothing, it's just a flat belly. If it was a male, you'd see just like sharks, they have 2 pectoral appendages that kind of drag behind them. We call those claspers. So Daphne is really comfortable with these guys. As you can see, she's been feeding them for quite a while. If I can get up to the glass, I'm going to show you guys how they eat. It's pretty fascinating. You might know the sharks and stingrays are related, but they obviously look very different. The way they hunt and eat is also very different. So you guys have all seen on Discovery Channel, National Geographic, how sharks eat. They have very sharp teeth, they bite into something, and they use those serrations on their teeth and their head movements back and forth really quickly to tear flesh really efficiently off the bone. So stingrays, on the other hand, they have teeth a little bit more like ours. They're a little more blunt, and they do kind of chew in a more clumsy way that you guys will get to see later. Now these guys, their eyes being on top of their head, their mouth being on the bottom of their body, they're obviously eating a lot of things that live on the bottom of the ocean floor, and things that especially like to hide under the sand. So that's why they have these blunt teeth, because they're typically eating things like clams, oysters, tasty things that we like. These guys love them too. So they'll dig them up, crush them open with those blunt teeth, and swallow whatever morsels they can get. So I can signal to Daphne, I'll get her up here, and I can show you guys how they chew. They look like they almost have a smiley face underneath. So if we get one up, right here, you can see they've kind of got like 2, it looks like eyes on tops of their mouths. But those are actually part of their breathing system. So more or less nostrils, and like I said, their eyes are on tops of their head. Anyway, they are still very cute and funny when they eat, and Daphne will show you right now. So there's one of our smaller cow-nosed rays. They're a little more graceful than these southern rays here. You can see it's definitely an open mouth chew. Very clumsy. Every now and then we'll see one going around with a piece of fish stuck in their nostril. It happens. And again, that's because their eyes are on top. They can't really see that well. Because their eyes are on top of their head, they have other... adaptations that help them hunt and eat their food, and one is obviously a sense of smell. Part of their breathing system does allow them to sense scents in the water. Another is that just like sharks, these guys have these very specialized receptors on the ends of their nose called ampullae of Lorenzi. And if you get up close later, you'll be able to see them. They're just these little tiny pores on the undersides of their nose. They just look like the same pores you have on your nose, but theirs are a lot more special. They can detect electrical signals in the water. So that helps these guys and sharks, but rays in particular, because they can hunt things that live under the sand that way. So they can detect signals coming under the sand, just like a little pulse, and they know that's where their food is. So really, really special, highly adapted animals. You can see those are the undersides of their gills there underneath their bodies. Really fascinating. You might notice we also have a species of shark in the tank. If you look up at the top of the water column, we have our bonnethead sharks. They look like they're almost baby hammerheads, but they are their own species. This is as big as they will get. They're all full grown. They are similar looking. They have that same bulb on the front of their head, and we do think that that, like hammerheads, gives them an extra sense when they're navigating looking for food, but science is kind of out right now on what exactly the bulb on the hammerhead, bonnethead sharks do. I like to think it's just because it makes them look cool, so they fit in better. But we'll see. We do have a few species of fish as well. You can see the really fat guys that are hanging around the rays trying to get any morsels they drop. Those are appropriately called chubs. You can see a lot of them swimming up at the top too. They are voracious little scavengers. They get whatever the rays and sharks leave behind, and they're doing a very good job of it, so they're getting very big. We also have a single grouper in the tank who swam by me a little bit earlier. I don't see him right now. He's kind of a dull brown color, really fat. He's pretty small right now, but he's going to get much bigger. If any of you came from Dangerous Lagoon, you might have seen our giant Goliath groupers. They are very large, multiple 100 pounds, and this guy will get pretty big himself one day. We're just housing him here temporarily while he's young. There's also, my favorite fish in the tank, a single look down. And that's that really thin guy swimming at just the middle of the tank here. You see that really flat body, and he turns towards you, he almost disappears. He's normally a schooling fish, and he was at one point part of a school. Don't worry, the sharks didn't eat all his friends. They got moved to a different tank, so they're actually in Dangerous Lagoon right now. This guy, however, was the fastest in his group, and our divers couldn't catch him. So he's staying for now. I don't know if we're ever going to move him, but for the time being, he tends to swim with the sharks, sometimes the rays. Not really sure what species he is anymore, so maybe he'll just stay. Seems very happy though. These guys get fed very well. They get all the scraps that the rays leave behind, and as you guys saw, they are very clumsy eaters. So unfortunately around the world, a lot of these animals are really threatened. Sharks in particular tend to be harvested for cures for everything from an upset stomach to baldness. It's pretty silly. There's no scientific evidence whatsoever saying that shark fin soup will cure your baldness. You're going to have to get some Rogaine. Shark fin soup won't do it. So it's really unfortunate these guys are harvested for that. Rays as well tend to be caught as bycatch. And what that means is that when a fisherman is trawling along the bottom of the ocean for tasty things like cod, these guys get caught accidentally in the nets. And those nets are also really bad for tearing up coral and other habitats that other animals depend on. So it's really important when you guys are going out to get seafood, whether you're going to the grocery store or your supermarket, that you're getting sustainably caught options. There's a lot of ways you can go about that. Avoiding trawling is a really good way, getting dolphin-friendly products. We've all seen those on our tuna cans. We have some examples upstairs if you guys would like to look more into that. So is anybody afraid for Daphne being in the tank right now with so many stingrays? No? Some of you looked a little concerned. Oh, you're shaking your head? You guys must know then. I know a lot of the kids learn in school now. Number one, these rays are very docile animals. Despite rays and sharks getting a bad reputation, they are very docile. This is pretty much what they do. They're not that dangerous. They do have the ability to sting. Most stinging cases, though, are cases where somebody has been walking along and they accidentally step on a ray, the ray gets scared and then stings you in the foot.